Welcome to our second tutorial related to Laravel 11. So last time with you guys, we set up the admin panel and we had backpack install. And now we would like to continue by adding some articles with tags. So first thing that we need to do is actually creating the tags. How we could create the tags? Well, in order for us to create the tags, we need to first make sure that we have initiated our tags create, read, update, delete. The first thing that we will need to do is create a small migration. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing is to create tags table. So how you execute it, you say make migration and then you name what you would like to create. In our case, I'm here in the app and I will say make migration, create tags table. This will create a new migration file, and if I open the code and go to database migrations, I see the new tags. I want to do a couple of things. One of them is add a name, and the second part, you could see it's also suggesting for me that both of these should be actually unique. So we have the name and the swag in this case. And we will have timestamp saying when a certain thing was created. If we did that, the next thing that we should do is PHP artisan migrate, and this will create the table inside our database. So if I open localhost and I try to open phpMyAdmin, and then if I go to Laravel Ninja, in there, I already see tags table created. So I have already created the tags table. And if I have the tags table, I could continue by generating create, read, update, delete for it. In order for me to generate that, I should run PHP artisan backpack create, read, update, delete for tag. I'm going to use request to validate, and this is creating a model, updating controller, adding a tag request, making sure that the rules are updated, and it's updating the menu for me. So if I click refresh here, I see the tags already, and I could go and create new tag. In this case, this tag, and you could see it's already existing. And you might wonder, okay, but what about adding some validation or how we could actually add some rules? Well, if you open your tag requests, you could go to app HTTP requests, and inside the tag request, you could see the key, which is in this case name. How do I know that this is the name? Well, I'm using the same name that we have in here, and I'm saying that this is required. It should be minimum 5 symbols, and maximum it should be around 20-25 symbols. And I could continue by adding a new one. So if I decide that I need to add a new one, I could do the same for the second field, and I will use only minimum and maximum in this case. So if I add those two rules and then refresh the page, you could see that these are already added. And also another thing that you need to know is you could manipulate the actual errors. So in this case, if you want to have different options by adding name.required, you could say this name is that the name is required. It says the name field is required, but if you click again, the errors are actually updated. And thanks to this messages method, you could update all of them and adjust them. So we have already created our create, read, update, delete for tags. I'll just delete me and then delete me to show you that you could delete them as well. The next thing that I want to do is create the actual article. But as the connection won't be many to many, before creating the article, we need to create a connection table. In this case, it will be article tags table. Article tags table, it consists of a couple of fields. So I'm going again to database migration, opening it, and I'm adjusting the fields of the new table. And what I'm doing is I'm actually saying that I need a unique identifier, and then I need to have a reference for the article ID and then for the tag ID. So this is the connection table. Every time when you add a new tag to an article, it will make a row here. And if this is correct, we could say, hey, PHP artisan, please migrate. And by doing that, next time when you refresh here, you will see a new table that's already in there. So we have article tags table created. By having this connection table, we could continue by creating the table required for the actual articles. So I'm generating now a new migration, and I'm going to need a couple of fields for the articles. So what kind of fields? Again, I'm editing the migration, and the fields that I'm using are I'm going to have title, content, which would be long text, and timestamps. Keeping in mind that we are not referencing anything related to tags because these are handled in a separate table. We don't need to have it in this table. So if you execute again artisan migrate and go to your database, you will see the new item in there. So I hit refresh, and now I have articles table. Having the table, the next thing we need to do is actually create the create, read, update, delete for article. So I'm executing this. I will use requests, and this created the model, controller, request, updated the views, updated the routes. And the last thing that I need to do is make the connection. So how do I make the connection between the articles and the tags? Because now if you click refresh, you see the articles, but when you start adding an article, you could not add any tag to it. So I need to go to app, then models, and open the article one. And inside there, search for a relations and paste this. And we are saying every time when you try to access tags, this will make a connection and show you all the items from article tags. By doing that, the model already knows that there is a connection to external table. What we are missing is the actual setup of the controller. How we are going to make the setup of the controller? We're going to edit app HTTP controllers, admin, and then article CRUD controller. And we are going to add a new method that's called getFieldsData. This method, I'm going to add it before setup. It's doing the following. It's adding a list of all the fields. So in this case, the name, the title, the content, and it's saying we're going to use tags, which is select and select multiple. This is something that's coming from Backpack, and the source model that is used is going to be tag. And if you have this generation, we need to make sure that the setup method here is going to respect that. So I'm saying every time when you set up the create, read, update, delete for these, please make sure that you're using the get fields data. And if I click refresh, now you see that the content is already it's a rich text editor. I could add the title and I could pick a tag. And by choosing that, I see all the items. What I'm missing is now the actual method which is responsible for show operation. How do you edit this? Well, you could add the missing methods inside your controller. So I'm adding setup show operation, and I'm saying, please do not show what is visible from the database. Please use what is visible from this method here. And if I have it, this means that there is no change in the listing, but if you click preview, you will see the added tags. And this is a really easy and quick example how you could create a articles with tags, and you could adjust then the articles by adding more and more tags to it. In this case, I add 2 tags. and we have articles and tags.